Welcome back, my friends and fans of the Ski Rex Media podcast, the Ski Rex Media as a whole. Happy New Year. Yes, the first brand new episode of the new year, 2023. I hope the end of the last year treated you well. It didn't treat me well between power outages, between injuries, between illnesses, between another power outage. Ski Rex Media's been offline for a little bit on and off, so yeah, we're getting back into it kind of late, and here I am still kind of sick, so if I'm coughing or clearing my throat, I promise I'll try to hit mutes and I'll try to edit it out and post later. I swear I will, but if I don't, yeah, I'm disgusting, and we all go through it, so here's to that. Now, and I just raised my can to the camera as if you're going to see that. I only use the audio. Isn't that stupid? Anyway, before we get into the interview, we're going to get into something we haven't heard in a few weeks. That's right. We're going to talk about Whaleback Mountain. Whaleback right over here in Enfield, New Hampshire, not far from me, not far from our guest as either. Whaleback is the awesomeness. I love it. I'm a pass holder. I'm there as often as I can be. I missed opening day because I was sick and injury. All right, enough trying to get sympathy from everybody. I know it's disgusting. Whaleback Mountain is awesome. Right off I-89 in Enfield, New Hampshire, exit 16. They're the only game on the exit. Yeah, there's a couple gas stations, a Dunkin' Donuts, and yeah, there's a neighborhood. People live there. But to heck with all that, go to Whaleback. They got the trees you want. They got the ungroomed. They got the groomed. They got stuff. They got night ski. They got everything, and they're only adding more. And we'll be talking to John and Alex later on in the month, maybe. I don't remember when we're talking to them because, again, sick, injury, all that stuff. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Whaleback Mountain, ski it to believe it. Check it out. Awesome place. I say go. Also, if you're in the market for brand new skis, my other partner, Saint Skis, Saint Custom Skis and Snowboards out of Gorham, New Hampshire. That's right. I just said to our guest, I'm in Vermont. I work with people in New Hampshire. What is that about? Saint Skis and Snowboards, custom. You want something of your very own length, width, cool graphics, swear words even. They'll put anything on it. Shout out to KJ and his dad, Kevin. They'll put anything you want on a pair of skis, on a pair of snowboards. A pair of snowboards? On a snowboard, whatever you want, they can make for you. So check them out, saintskis.com. Links for Whaleback and Saint Skis in the description, and links will be there for our guest as well. Now, we've talked about adaptive sports before. Shout out Kim Jackson at Vermont Adaptive over there on the other side of the state. But we're going to talk about it from a New Hampshire point of view, I guess. I don't know. Carly Bascom, ED over there at the NEHSA, if I got that right. Carly, how are you?
You got it right, Tim. Thank you. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Hey, I'm very interested in adaptive sports for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think it's like we know it's there. We see it, but we don't know anything about it. And there's, the ways it has to be taught. Very interesting. The technology is very interesting. What can and can't be done and how that has progressed over years. And we're going to get into the history of that. So let's make it easy and start with who you are and what you do over there.
Yeah. So my name is Carly. I'm the executive director for New England Healing Sports Association. We're located over at Mount Sunapee, New Hampshire. We've got a lodge, right at the base of Mount Sunapee, and we've been around for we're on 51 years. This is our 51st season, which is pretty fantastic. We started in 1972 as a weekend ski program for veterans with disabilities. They were Vietnam War era veterans returning back home, trying to get back into the sport that we all love, and trying to figure out, how to do it with new injuries, new bodies. Coming back from war, their bodies were a little bit different than going to war. So trying to get it done however they could to still enjoy the sport of skiing. That's really where our roots are. That's where we started, and we've certainly grown since then.
I would imagine 51 years in the industry. That's an incredible run. Like, there's ski areas that are only that old, and you have a specific program that is equally as old. And with something that old, the program has seen all kinds of progression. Now, you say it started with veterans. Is that still a big thing that you work with? Is it veteran based?
Yeah, it's still a huge thing. So yeah, I'll back up and do a little bit more history for you. So yeah, we started with veterans in the 70s. From there, we kind of evolved into serving people with all different kinds of physical disabilities. So veterans and civilians. We introduced the civilians into our programs. In the 90s is when we started serving people with cognitive disabilities. So people with, Down syndrome, autism, those sort of populations started to integrate into our program. And now today, it's 2023. I can't believe it's 2023, but today we are serving essentially any person with any disability from, we always say, the ages of 4 to 104. That top number doesn't happen too often, but we are known to serve a few 100-year-olds each season. So yeah, we've grown over the years, and glad to keep serving the community in the way that we do, and really just getting people outside and having fun, and the power of being outdoors. We all know, as skiers and snowboarders, we know what that can do to the body, to the mind, to the spirit. And that's really what we're about, is making sure that there's access for everyone to get out on the hill.
Absolutely. I always say it. Snow sports are for everyone. They're for anyone. It doesn't matter your age. She's not wrong. I've seen people 70, 80, 90, and we all know Klaus Obermeyer. That guy, he's never going to stop. He's like 100. He's been on snow for 90 years. Like who does that? Nobody. He owns the record. Excuse me. So that's awesome. Get everybody out who can or who wants to. And now it would seem, and again, we're going to talk about this like I've never talked about this before. Ski Rex Media is a learning experience. The people who listen to this know that. I want it to be as educational as it is entertaining, and sometimes self-deprecating. Now, so is there anything you can't do over there? Like, is the technology or the technique not available, or can you just get just about anyone? Or is there anything that you can't get that you are working on or wish you could get to?
That's a really good question. I think the perception a lot of times with people with disabilities, from the outside looking in is, oh, they can't do this because they're missing a leg, or they can't do this because they have a spinal cord injury. But in our world, in adaptive sports, that's really not the case. And I think I speak for the community, the adaptive sports community. I don't want to do that often, but I will here, is we like to not say no. So if there's somebody that maybe has an increase of challenges, or maybe some medical complications, there might be some hesitancies, but it's all about mitigating the risk and making sure that we do it as safely as possible. So no does not come out of my mouth very often. And nice. We really, it's about doing everything we can to get whoever it is out on the hill enjoying what we do. So I won't say there is nothing we can't do. That would seem extreme, but we will pretty much try anything as long as we can do it in a safe manner. And sometimes that looks like staying over on the bunny hill, on the magic carpet area. Here at Sunapee, we have a fantastic learning area. Honestly, I'm biased, but I feel like it's one of the best in New Hampshire. So we have a really nice learning area. It's separate from the big hill. So a lot of our lessons, we may have some athletes that come and they're wanting to bomb down the hill, but it's their first day skiing. So we'll start over in the learning area, even if it's the smallest magic carpet surface lift. So as long as we can do it safely, and as long as we feel that the risk isn't extreme, we'll say yes.
Absolutely. And I totally get that. How do you know if you don't try? And then obviously try that in the safest manner possible. You don't just want to say, well, the heck with it. It'll work, and go with it. You don't want that. So if you're and again, you don't want to speak for everyone, and I get that, but that seems to be a general consensus of adaptive sports professionals is that, yeah, we want people to do these things, summer or winter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We want people to do these things. So we will try it. We will find a way. And then eventually you will develop something new. Has your program specifically developed anything new that has gone national or regional or anything, or is that not how it works?
No, I mean, it does work that way. I hesitate to take any claim to fame for any specific piece of equipment, but we certainly do, duct tape is certainly a wonderful friend in the adaptive sports industry. Oh, yeah. We're always, putting foam pieces together and duct taping all different pieces of equipment. And, so certainly duct tape is our friend. We've got some different renditions of outriggers that a few of our instructors have worked on. And I'm realizing now that I just used the term outriggers and people may not know what that is. Nope. Outriggers are essentially, they can be used up for a skier that's standing up and skiing or a skier that's sitting down skiing, but they look like crutches, but they have little skis on the bottom of them. Okay. So they're used for somebody that's standing up. Maybe they only have one leg. That's called 3-track skiing. So there's a track that their ski with their leg is on. Sure. And then the 2 tracks from the outriggers in the snow adds up to 3. So that's what that's called, 3-track skiing. So they use outriggers for that. And then the sit skiers that you'll see bombing down the hill, they are sitting down in an adaptive piece of sit ski equipment, and they have shorter outriggers because the distance sitting down from your arm to the ground is shorter. And sure. Similarly, they have skis underneath them, and they're using them to initiate their turns and move down the hill safely and in control.
See, I didn't know those had a name. Now, again, it's something we all see, not really, I don't want to say take for granted, but we see it, but we don't ask questions because it's ski poles. That's what it looks like. So it's just like, all right, it's ski poles.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was as specialized a thing as it is. You know what I mean? I didn't know. And I'm sure no one else knew either. And again, we've also seen the sit skiing and all this stuff. Now, all this equipment, it is some specialized equipment. I've heard tell some of it even now being built. I don't know if this is true. Again, educational, out of titanium, or like these things could take a bomb and not break, and this kind of thing. And this is part of the progression of the different sports. Is that accurate? Like, are we there where this stuff is so well built, well manufactured, technically advanced, like Star Trek level technology? Like, is that where we are?
It's pretty impressive, I've got to say. I'm no engineer, but we do have a few engineers in our program, and we know of several engineers in the industry. So they do a fantastic job really making the equipment lightweight, durable. You don't want something real clunky, just like when you or I are skiing, we don't want something real clunky going down the hill. We want it to be lightweight. We want it to be durable. We want it to stand the test of time, functional. All of those things certainly go into play. And like I said, I'm not an engineer. I'm sure a million other things go into play, but the technology over the years has been amazing. If you looked at sit skiing several years ago, it would have looked more like sledding. Sure. But over the years, they've gotten certainly better technology. The skis are the skis under the sit skis. So there's a couple different kinds of sit skis. There's bi skis. Those look like a sit ski with 2 skis underneath, and then there's a mono ski. So that's the sit ski with 1 single ski underneath. The bi skis have articulating skis, so they can move their edges similar to you or I moving our edges on skis. So certainly the technology is just miles and miles and miles away from where it used to be when the sport started.
And you all and your program have used I can't say all technology because technology goes so fast. Who knows when something's coming out, but you all are up to date, I'm sure, on everything.
Yeah, we've got an impressive fleet of equipment it's stored in our basement of our lodge, and anybody that wants to come by Mount Sunapee and check out our facility, they're more than welcome to check out all of our equipment that we have. We've got several different renditions of the sit ski over the years. We've kind of kept some for historic purposes, but then also, just to see how far we've come. But then also the newest top of the line stuff we've also got. It's admittedly impressive.
I can imagine. I mean, I love technology myself. Know very little about it, but still want to touch it and play with it. So I totally get where it can be impressive, and that's awesome. But technology is only so much. What good is technology if you don't know how to use it? What does it take? And like I'm assuming, again, there's a lot of assumptions, and I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions, as that's what I do.
That's fine.
Technique. You are all skilled in it. You have your part. You have others who have their part. What is the technique like? What do you have to do to learn it? Like, I'm sure some of your people are PSIA or the snowboard version of PSIA, which I can never remember. Not doing anything bad. Love snowboarders. I'm just saying my mind is shot. What is all that? Who's learning? What are they learning? What can they teach? The whys, the hows, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So, that's a great question, and I appreciate you for asking it. We are a volunteer program. So yes, we do have paid employees that work for our program. Right now we have 4, and we've had 4 for quite a few years now. Everybody else that is out there teaching our lessons in our program, they're all volunteers. So we have currently about 250 to 300 active volunteers.
Oh, wow.
And they have not all of them are PSIA or Aussie. Aussie is the snowboard version of
there it is.
certification. Not all of them are PSIA or Aussie certified, but many of them are. And so a lot of them have gotten their training through PSIA and Aussie, but we also train all of our new volunteers and returning volunteers in-house as well. We have a whole slew of training that we go through during the month of December. We don't do any lessons until after Christmas. So we reserve the month of December to be all on snow training for our instructors to make sure that they're prepared to go out on the hill. We're not throwing them into a scenario where they're completely uncomfortable or just not prepared to handle.
Sure.
So training is a big thing for us. We also host trainings mid-season, and there's really no adaptive experience necessary to volunteer with us. It's really just the want and desire to learn the adaptive piece to skiing. We get a lot of people that love the sport of skiing. We get a lot of, kids that were ex-racers and retirees that are just looking to get more involved. And so there's no adaptive experience necessary. It does help if you know how to ski or snowboard already. That certainly helps. We want you to be comfortable on skis or snowboards. But we're willing to train just about anybody that's willing to learn.
Excellent. And the beautiful thing about volunteers, I think, is that these folks are here with the passion. They're not just collecting a check. So, Lord knows we've all done jobs. We're only going because we're getting paid. We don't like it. These people like it. They want to be there. They believe in it. And I'm sure you could see that, throughout their days as they train and work. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. This is my 9th season with NEHSA, and I am every day more impressed with the heart and compassion and dedication that our volunteers display out on the hill or in any of the sports that we offer. They're just the best group of people, and we're so lucky to have them. Really, really. And the irony is, if you talk to any of our volunteers, they'll say, well, I get more out of it than I give, which is just, it's impressive to me because they feel like they're they're getting as much out of it, if not more, than what they're giving to the program and what they're giving to the athletes that they work with. So it's a pretty heartwarming place to be. We've referred to our lodge as the Smile Factory. There's a lot of smiles going around. So it's kind of a warm, fuzzy place to hang out. I appreciate that it's my job. Very lucky to be working here.
That's very cool. That's wicked cool. Now, as you said, you're at Sunapee. Now, you're not officially affiliated with the mountain, right? You're not a Vail operated thing at all, right?
That's correct. We're a separate nonprofit organization. We are friendly neighbors of Mount Sunapee. Mount Sunapee and Vail Resorts have been fantastic support system for our organization, but
Totally.
we kind of work in tandem with them. We're not part of Vail Corporation. We're separate and kind of doing our own thing.
Cool. That works. But you are right there at Sunapee. How great is that to have, like, not your own mountain, but your own mountain? Like, for instance, if again, not to bring up other people, but it's fine. Vermont Adaptively, talk to them. They work. Yeah, totally. They work on, at Saskadena, Killington, the few others. They just built that building, whatever it is. I can't remember. Again, the brain is shot. Doesn't matter. Anyway, but you are on site right there. That's got to be a huge advantage.
It's pretty fantastic. We've had our lodge here. I actually don't know the exact year, but it was something like the 90s, I think, is when we first got our first rendition of our lodge here at Sunapee. And a few years ago, we actually did a big renovation and expansion project to our lodge, which doubled it in size, which has been just honestly such a game changer for our program, is having the space to move around, the space to have people, with assistive devices, walkers, wheelchairs, allow them the space and environment that they need to even move around. Before, it was a really crowded, small lodge. So certainly being right here at the base of the mountain is it's wonderful for our program. And we appreciate being able to be neighbors with Mount Sunapee Resort.
Absolutely. And Sunapee is another one of those places. Like I was saying, Whaleback is super accessible. It's on the highway. You could throw stuff out the window while you're passing on the interstate. Sunapee really isn't that far off either. It's very easy to get to. I can almost get there from memory right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right off of 89. I'd say, I don't know. I've never measured it, but 10 miles maybe off 89. It's real convenient location if you're traveling on 89.
Yeah, it's wicked easy, everyone. So if you are looking for an adaptive program, this in there. Now, do you just work in New Hampshire? Do you team up with Mass, Vermont, whatever it is, Canada? How does that work? Are you anywhere, everywhere, or because it is New England is in the name? This is why I ask.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So we have done lessons at other mountains before upon request. We have a pretty good partnership with Okemo being close by in Vermont.
Sure.
We've done a few school lessons over there for folks that have had adaptive needs. We've also done some lessons down at Pat's Peak.
Pat's Peak?
Yeah. Years ago, we did lessons at McIntyre in Manchester.
Okay.
But really our home base is Mount Sunapee, and currently that's where our focus is, mainly because of COVID. We're trying to build back some of the volunteer base, and then some of the athletes we're building back after COVID. So it's honestly been a little bit of a up and down since 2020, but we're approaching pre-COVID numbers this season, and we're really excited about it. Yeah.
Now, that's something interesting. The last time I talked to anyone about adaptive was pre-pandemic. So since we got post-pandemic, and I know everybody's sick of it, but I don't care. You're almost up to those numbers. What kind of challenges did you have to go through? Like, obviously you had to deal with all the shutdowns and the lockdowns and this mask or that mask or whatever it was for New Hampshire. And again, every state was different. It was very hard to follow. But you obviously made it through, but what did you have to make it through to get here?
Yeah. So we shut down in March of 2020, which would have been close to the end of our winter season. We were actually getting there close anyways, just because of the snow conditions. I don't know if folks remember, but March 2020 wasn't the best ski season due to the snow or lack thereof. So we almost closed out that winter season, which, financially was good. It was good that we got as far as we did into the 2020 season as we did. But what we haven't talked about yet is that we don't only do skiing and snowboarding. We also do year-round programming. We've got a hiking program, a kayaking program, and paddleboarding program that we run. That first summer during COVID, we actually halted all of our in-person activities. And we took our show on to Zoom. It was pretty wild. We were hosting all different kinds of adaptive sport and recreation classes on Zoom. We did a very quick pivot, and folks, the response was really good. We knew that because so much of our mission is getting people outside that may not otherwise get outside and getting them active that may not otherwise be active, we didn't feel right to just shut the door and say, okay, we'll just wait till this blows over and then we'll pick up where we left off. So we wanted to make sure that we were keeping our athletes and our volunteers engaged in something, whether it be we did some kayak cardio classes, we did adaptive yoga classes, we did some different social groups and coffee hours just to keep people active. And we did that for like 9 months. So from I think April to November. I'm not doing the quick math there, but it was sometime between April and November. We did strictly virtual programming, which is, I think about it still, and I'm like, that is wild. But like I said, people were being told to stay indoors, and our mission is to get people outdoors. So we wanted to stay true to that, and make sure that we were doing it safely. So then our first winter season was the 2020-2021 winter season, and we went back to in-person programming. We still had a full winter season that year. We just reduced the capacity that we did it. So we kept our numbers lower so that we could socially distance. We did all kinds of screening protocols and quarantines if people were exposed or had COVID. We just followed guidelines, pretty strict guidelines, admittedly, and glad that we did, because we didn't have to shut down at all due to, overexposure or our staff getting exposed or anything like that. We masked up. So yeah, it's been kind of, ever since that season, it's been kind of, we've taken layers off of our guidelines and eased them up each season as everything else in the world has kind of done as well. We do still have some COVID protocols that we follow, but again, we're just trying to do everything. Safety is our biggest thing, and we want to make sure that however we're operating, we're doing it safely.
Excellent. The adaptive sports people adapted and went with it.
Right. We didn't know what adaptive meant fully until COVID-19 came.
Everybody got a taste of adaptive for a year or two. We all did. But that's all right. We're past that. We're into winter. Now, you said we will get into the summer stuff too, I swear. But so far we talked about how 2020 was kind of ended as an ugly winter, and we're off to kind of an ugly start. And now you said you start after Christmas anyway, except for your training. Have you been impacted by this weak winter so far?
So we opened up as planned on December 27th for our lessons, and we're just a week out now, and we've been fully booked for the last week, which has been fantastic.
Excellent.
The Sunapee's done a good job keeping the conditions decent for us, working with what Mother Nature has given them. And so we're glad to keep, as long as the snow's there, we'll still host our sessions for sure.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, and this winter so far in New England has been weak. And I don't think there is anywhere in the country right now that just has a winter. It's either weak here in New England or it's all that mess out in Buffalo that they're still digging out. It's Utah was shutting down ski hills the other day because of too much snow. It's feast or famine, I believe is the term.
Yes, extremes on either end of the spectrum there. So hopefully we'll get some more natural stuff soon. I'm always looking at the weather forecast, looking ahead. Sure. Temperatures are going to be dropping later this week. Hopefully we can make more snow, if not get some natural snow. So
that'd be nice.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, even if our winter turns out to be bogus, because that does happen sometimes. Like, I'm not going to say we haven't had bad winters. I'm not going to say we haven't had sick, incredible winters. But that takes us to spring and summer. Now, you shut down March, April. That's when winter things close down here in New England. And then you start back up again. And you said you had specific sports, if you want to go over those again.
Yeah, definitely. So, mud season is what we like to refer to it as. I know a lot of New Englanders know what that means, but that's totally. Real muddy, gross time in April, May time frame. We take the month of April to kind of just close out ski season and then plan for our spring, summer, fall seasons. So in May, we'll start up hiking, and hiking is actually fairly new to us. That's a program we started during COVID. That was in November of 2020, we started our hiking program as a way for get people outside in safe social distances or physical distances and really just enjoy each other's company, enjoy the views of some different hikes in the area. So hiking is what we'll start up in May, and then in June, July, August, September, October is kayaking and paddleboarding, and we still run some hikes in between there as well. Hiking then goes into November as well, and then we do it all again. It's wash, rinse, repeat, get ski season ready, and then it's just the cycle continues.
Very great, very nice. And fall hiking in New England is ridiculous. Number one, the temperatures have come down. It's beautiful. The leaves are changing. Everybody loves that. Lord knows our population up here increases every fall for a little while. It's awesome. And that's awesome that you are doing it. Now, one of the big sports now, especially for mountain and outdoor sports, is the mountain biking. Have you all attempted that yet? Do you want to? Is it too much?
I'll never say never, that's for sure. Certainly the interest, I think, is there. It's just, mountain biking, like all of our adaptive sports, it gets expensive. So we want to make sure that before we commit to anything, we've got funding in place to pay for the equipment. We've got the interest in place on the athlete side of things, but also the personnel in place on the volunteer side. And then storage for all of the equipment too. So there are some different factors, and certainly, Mount Sunapee did start doing mountain biking several years ago over on their South Peak area. So certainly that's a point where we may be able to expand in the future. Who knows? Like I said, I'm open to trying pretty much any sport. We just want to make sure we've got all the resources in place.
All right, then let's do this. Now, for those who don't know, the mountain biking is you start to get like the quad bikes, and they have specialized equipment too. Again, I also am not an engineer, so I get to marvel at it and be like, wow, this is incredible. So these things take up space. They cost that much more. Again, outdoor sports are not cheap. And it's not just skiing and snowboarding, kids. There's other ones that, like mountain biking. Some of those bikes are $5, $6, $7, $8 grand. And now if you add specializations like quad wheels and everything, it turns into a $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 or more bike. And then again, if you get into the professional sports, which I want to get into that too, but we'll get there. But she's not afraid to say no to anything. Now, one of the reasons I asked about the mountain biking is because Sunapee, a lot of mountains are starting to do mountain biking. It's just, it's a thing. A lot of mountains are also starting to do disc golf. We doing that?
We could. There is a disc golf. Like I said, we could do a lot here. There's a disc golf course at Sunapee. Certainly we could do it.
Go.
And you know what? Honestly, thinking about it now, Tim, we've got some adaptive hiking equipment. So we could use the adaptive hiking equipment to go through the disc golf course. You know, discs wouldn't be too expensive, relatively speaking.
True.
So we could certainly turn our hiking program into kind of a hybrid disc golf program as well.
That would be awesome. Now,
I love that idea.
See, look at that. We're progression. We're doing things nobody else has thought of yet, which is kind of weird because people have loved it. And that's why I asked again. Mountains have started to do the mountain biking, but at almost every ski mountain, you see a disc golf course popping up. They're all over the place now, super popular now. So I was like, well, shoot, is that even a thing? Could that be done? And obviously it can, which is great. To bring it back around to something I said before, you know, with the equipment, once you start getting into specialized professional and competitive riders, whether it be summer, winter, snow, winter, fall, spring, doesn't matter. Do you all work with competitive riders, whether it be national, regional, high school, university level? Like, you know, there are Paralympic type events on those smaller levels. It's obviously not just every 4 years and there it is. Some people think that about non-Paralympics too. Just like the Olympics is, wait, these people are actually working year round? Like, yeah, they don't just show up for 3 weeks for that. Do you work with the professionals or at least the competitives?
Certainly. Yeah. We have a wide variety of athletes that we work with. Some of them are really here just to have fun and it's strictly a recreational basis, but certainly there are others that are more into the competition of things. Totally. We do have a race program at NEHSA. So we run race practices every Saturday. Things on the race side have been a little interrupted again due to COVID, but we're bringing things back, hoping to host some more races, get our athletes out to more races in New England at least. And like I said, certainly we've worked with some pretty impressive athletes that have gone pretty far competitively. You said the Paralympics, which is, you know, definitely we're into competition, friendly competition.
Well, sure. Is that just Alpine, or does your program have the know-how and the equipment to have moved into the freestyle thing? And that's something that we've seen sit skiers are doing, you know, cork 540s, which is ridiculous because throwing that trick anyway is impressive, but now you're doing it with another 100 pounds attached to you. Not, you know, it's just not your body. Are you moving into those more technical disciplines or no? And that's summer and winter too. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so right now we're still in Alpine. We could start to trickle into some of the freestyle stuff, but definitely not. We're not there yet. I know. I watch on TV and I'm like, what? Yeah. They just did how many rotations?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No fear.
Definitely.
In fact, I love it because I've said just to watch the progression of freestyle sports anyway. There was a time when I was a kid, you would do these tricks in video games that were obviously, funny. It's animated. It's not real. Now they're doing it. Like they're taking bindings off. Right. They're letting go of the bike. It doesn't matter. It's like, what? And obviously adaptive sports are catching up as well. Again,
I love it.
Oh yeah. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. So, now we ask you a lot of questions. Now, again, one of the things you start to hear about, for example, people who run the mountains. You've heard me talk to John Hunt, listeners over at Whaleback. You've heard me talk to Lindsay Deloria at Bolton and Jeff Hathaway down there at Magic and so on. All these people that run the mountain to get the name GM, the title, GM, executive director, whatever it is. Your job is everything or anything. Is that you as well? Are you out there teaching? Are you just stuck to the office and you have to sneak out to get runs?
No, I wear a lot of hats. People that know me know that I literally wear a lot of hats.
Nice. Love
But
it.
figuratively as well. I pretty much, because we're such a grassroots organization and a small business, I pretty much dabble in everything operationally that we do here.
Sure.
So some days you might see me out on the hill. I'm actually a snowboarder. I'm sorry to bring that in now, but I do some snowboard lessons. And by the way, I do have a pair of snowboards. So
there you go. Aha! Vindication.
Yes. You didn't misspeak back then. So some days you'll see me out doing snowboard lessons with some of our athletes. Some days I will be glued to the desk or on the phone, working more on the admin side of things. We actually got our own rental ski shop here in our building, which is nice because then we're just a one-stop shop for our athletes. They don't have to go to one place at Mount Sunapee and then come to us. They just come straight to us. So some days you'll see me working in the shop. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I like it that way. I like to see all the different sides of the operations, but certainly I have a ton of support with our staff here at NEHSA and then the volunteer base. They're fantastic. I work with such a good team of people.
Excellent. And that's something I like to point out is that the further you go, and I know this is a thing across several industries, but since we're talking about the ski industry as I do, the snow sports industry, the further up the ladder you go, the longer your job title gets. Not because you're a manager, because you are now cooking, cleaning, training, running lifts, whatever it is. Taking out the trash, it doesn't matter. And that's just the way it goes. And people enjoy it. That seems to be a commonality, is that people are like, I love it. I'm in the parking lot. I've asked these different people, what's your favorite job that most people wouldn't expect a GM, an executive director, what to do. I'm pretty sure Hathaway said he loves running parking lots. That's his thing, Some people like to run lifts, and I get why this could be a lot of fun. So I want to know if that was still a thing, and it is universal, obviously, and you obviously.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It's funny. I started at NEHSA as an intern. And so 9 years ago, I was just out of college. I started as an intern. So I've kind of seen, just naturally, I've seen all the different pieces and the layers of the different positions in the organization. So it's good to not just be glued to the desk. It's good to still see those pieces of my job that I had in previous years, and still get out on the hill. Certainly my passion is getting athletes out and active in sports. So that's where I like to be. I like to be with the athletes, but it's, being the executive director, it comes with all different kinds of challenges, and each one is different than the next, and it keeps things exciting.
Awesome. Hey, man, if you like what you do, you don't work a day in your life. That's what they say. I don't know if that's true yet. I like what I do, but I do work, so who knows? Except when I'm sick, injured, power out, the whole thing, whatever. A lot of fun there. So you do a lot. That's awesome. Let's plug it, because I want to make sure people know they can get to you. NEHSA.org. Correct.
That's us. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. So you can find us on our website. All of our contact information is also listed on our website. If you or somebody that you know is interested in getting a lesson with us, certainly reach out to us. Give us a call. We'd love to get them out on the mountain, or out on the water, depending on what time of season it is. And if you or anybody you know wants to volunteer with us, we're always recruiting volunteers on a rolling basis. Again, no adaptive experience necessary. We will train you as you go. We just want to spread the word about, what we're doing and kind of the things that we're doing to make the world a more accessible place for everyone.
Very good. And also on the website, if you want to volunteer, awesome. great. Go for it. If you're looking to enter the world of adaptive sports as an athlete, as someone who's learning how to do this stuff, give them a call. That's great. Also, NEHSA is, again, .org, nonprofit, work on donations and stuff, I assume, correct?
Oh, yes. So we get a lot of our funding. We do charge a fee for the services that we provide. Sure. We try to keep those costs low. Skiing is expensive, but we try to keep those costs low. And we do that through grants and donations and really the generosity of the community that we've built. But, the community in New England, it's just amazing. What folks are willing to do to make our mission possible. So if you're interested in donating, you can also do that on our website. We also have a ton of different fundraisers that we do annually. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is actually coming up. It's on February 4th. It's our ski and ride-a-thon event. Basically, you register. It's $100 to register. That includes your ticket for the day. And then you try to rack up as many runs as possible, and you try to get pledges for your ski runs or your snowboard runs.
Cool.
It's a really fun event. It's going to be, again, February 4th, and there's more information about that on our website as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Our Instagram handle is NEHSA NH.
There you go.
NEHSA.
That is a mouthful, but once you put it in once, it'll be there forever. Very easy to find. I follow them as well because I need to find them as well. That's very good. You could get all kinds of stuff done with these folks. Carly, very nice. I'm sure all the other staff is very nice. Christine, shout out to her. Very nice lady as well. Was a kind of a go-between, especially while you were now talking about other adaptives. You were just out west, I guess, doing with a big thing. Big to do. What was that about?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to travel out to Breckenridge, Colorado they have an event. It's an annual event out there. It's called the Hartford Ski Spectacular. And it's amazing. It's all adaptive. I was out there for instructor training. So the PSIA and Aussie, they do an adaptive education for instructors all over the country, and they host a ton of different clinics early in December each year. But the other side of that is there were also a bunch of adaptive athletes at the event doing race camp and race training, and they're really on that competitive level, getting lessons and coaching done just to improve their skiing and riding.
Nice. So yeah, it is a thing, my friends. And what we're talking about here is just a very small part. If you are anywhere, it's just like Seth Ehrlich from SOS Outreach said, we'll find you a place to go if you're not right here. And there's always places. People will get you out there. And Carly said that she'll put anybody on the snow or the water.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's actually a great resource. MoveUnitedSport.org. I believe that's what it is. They have, basically a member base, and they list adaptive organizations all over the country. So nice. They have a map on their website. If you're in Washington State, they've got organizations that you can reach out to. If you're down in Florida, there's all different kinds of places you can go to for whatever sport you might be interested in. So they're a really good resource if you're looking for a specific region getting involved in adaptive sports.
Very good. Yeah. And everybody, if you have ever thought about it, just even thought about it, give someone a call and get out there. Again, I say it all the time. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter anything. If you want to come play in the snow, come play. Or in the summertime as well. But Ski Rex Media, we'll talk about skiing fine. And snowboarding and things like this. Now, get out there. Just go. Give these people a call. Say, hey, I have this challenge. I have this disability. I have whatever. Dude, we'll get you out there. Just try it. It's fun. And I get it. It's cold. It's wet. It's expensive. I know why people don't do it. Just try it. You'll love it. I think you agree, Carly.
I agree. And if you don't have the equipment to get out there yourself, like even snow pants, jacket, hat, goggles. We actually have a bunch of that stuff here too. So don't let that be your limiting factor. We kind of hoard equipment that people have donated to us. And then if, somebody comes that doesn't have a pair of ski pants, hey, you've got these for the day. So don't let that be your limiting factor.
Yeah, man, let nothing stop you. Just go for it. Yeah, and I mean, if you need a ride, we'll find you a ride. Yeah, that's New England. We're rural. We don't always have a bus, but somebody's going up there, darn it, and we'll get you somewhere. Awesome, Carly. Thank you very much for doing this. This sounds great, man. Sounds like you got a great program there. It's run well. You're right on the side of a mountain. Huge advantage. Easy to get to. I love it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And if it's okay, I actually want to touch on something I forgot to touch on. I can't believe I forgot this. But we are this is airing on the 10th of January. So we are going to be right in the middle of our New England Winter Sports Clinic for veterans with disabilities. You asked about how much we still keep veterans involved with our programs, and certainly they are still at our root. We serve a lot of different veterans with disabilities, but this event, in January is partnered with VA New England healthcare system. So the VA is involved, and we host about 60 veterans with disabilities for the week-long event, and we're just about getting them out on the snow, skiing, snowboarding. We do have some other activities. We do some kayaking in the pool. We've got some pickleball going on this year. Nice. So that's an event that we're going to be hosting real soon here. And I wanted to at least touch on that because I totally spaced.
Yeah, believe me, you don't have to be anything about forgetting stuff. I don't even know my name half the time. The wonders of the smartphone, ladies and gentlemen. People using to play Angry Birds. Heck with that. My calendar is my app. That's what I use. So that's coming up. Yeah, this will be out. So the first day you're going to hear this is actually the 11th, Wednesday the 11th. What is the date range for that event?
So that's going to be January 9th through the 13th.
Very nice. So all next week. Well, next week for us, today's the 3rd. All next week for us, we'll definitely plug that here on Ski Rex Media as well. Again, available on the website. You go there, you can find it. They give you a call. They can find it. In fact, I'll probably cut the audio out for this early to make sure, and we'll put it up on social media so people know it's there. And then you can get the full episode on Wednesday. And again, if you're a veteran, check it out, man. I get it. My family's veterans. My stepfather works for the VA hospital here in town, man. So I get it. Get out there, man, and enjoy it. 9th through the 13th all week. That's wonderful.
Yes. And it's the biggest veteran clinic for adaptive sports in the Northeast. So we're pretty excited about it.
Absolutely. That's awesome to be the biggest. That's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we'll see that. Maybe I can get down there and check that out. I'm not going to FISU this year, kids, like I wanted to, but I'm so far behind. Maybe we'll go down to Sunapee and check that out instead.
Come see. You're welcome anytime, Tim.
Excellent. So we'll see if I can get down there for that. We'll get Carly out of here. I'm sure she has stuff to do today instead of fooling around on the old podcast, which is fine. I mean, I have a good time with it. If you want to stay, we can stay. But the NEHSA.org. I'm trying, kids. I really am.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful, but you got it. You got it right every time. So Excellent. Good on you.
Rock and roll, man. And that, of course, links will be for everything in the description. As I always say, don't check the show description, show notes while you're in the car. You will get that ticket or get hurt. I have gotten the cell phone ticket in New Jersey. It was $1.25, and I don't mean $1.25. I mean $125. It's not fun. And it's dangerous, so don't do that. But as soon as you're safe, or if you're listening at home, go ahead and check that out. Links there. Again, if you need more information, if you want to get into it, if you want to volunteer and participate, also welcome. We'll take all comers, man. It's fine. All the information you can want is at the is on their website. And of course, social media is also a wonderful thing we have. Well, it can be a wonderful thing that we have in the 21st century. Miss Carly, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. It was all very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. So glad to be here. Appreciate it, Tim.
And there she goes, Carly Bascom from the New England Healing Sports Association, the executive director over there, down there in Sunapee at Mount Sunapee. Very cool. I dig on the adaptive sports world. It's very interesting, from the technology to the techniques to the people that participate. And speaking of the people that participate, I am going to go down there next Wednesday, or today, if you're listening to this on day one. You see, there's the fun part. Let's break some fourth walls. Let's get some behind the scenes going. It is January 3rd. That's when we're recording this. This will be out January 11th. On January 11th, I am going to go down, or today, for those listening on day one, I should be at Mount Sunapee, checking out the event with the veterans, hanging out, talking to people, looking at the techniques, looking at the technology, talking to the people who work there, talking to the people that participate in the adaptive sports, talking to everybody and see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to be on ground level, I think. And we'll talk to some people down there. We'll hand out some stickers. We'll do a couple things, right? Right. So if you're listening to this in the morning and you're coming down to Mount Sunapee, hey man, I'm around there somewheres. Check me out. See if you see me somewhere. I'm sure I have the high vis vest on. That's not for safety. That's because I want people to see me. It's narcissism. Anyway, all kidding aside, thank you for listening to the Ski Rex Media Podcast yet again. Welcome to the year 2023, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be, hopefully, a bigger season for the Ski Rex Media Podcast, the Ski Rex Media as a whole, as I am already more busy than I have been in years prior. And that doesn't include the being sick, injured, power outages. No, my friends. I have stuff lined up here and there and everywhere throughout the rest of the season, and I will see you out there. I do thank you for listening. I do hope that you have subscribed and or followed, depending on where you are. Obviously, use the Podbean app if you don't already, or it's on pretty much any podcasting app that you would like to use. You can find the Ski Rex Media Podcast, and that includes on YouTube. It is still audio only, but if you want to use it, it is there for you to use, right? Right. Thank you once again to everybody who listened. Thank you again to Carly for participating. Thank you to Christine, who helped us set up the interview. And thank you to anybody and everybody who has something to do with Ski Rex Media, including our sponsors, Whaleback Mountain in Enfield, New Hampshire, and St. Custom Skis and Snowboards over there in Gorham, New Hampshire. Check out both of them. Links to everything is in the description, including those two sponsors, plus Ski Rex Media. Of course, you can just go to skirexmedia.com, and there you will find links to everything I do, whether it is recorded, written, or on social media. Right? Thank you, everybody. Check us out next week for another brand new episode, and I will see you out there. Thank you.